Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping straight into a really big idea.
Yeah, this concept that, our thoughts can actually shape our reality.
Hmm.
What happens up here, gestures to head matters out there.
Exactly. We're exploring that idea of thinking and growing rich, focusing specifically on, well, desire.
That's right. How that deep, burning desire is kind of the starting point for making things happen, for achieving goals.
And the aim here is for you to understand how to maybe harness that same energy in your own life.
To overcome hurdles and really get after what you want. It's like unlocking a key principle, really.
So, to get into this, we've got some pretty fascinating stories. We'll look at Edwin C. Barnes' Are You, Darby?
And even Henry Ford makes an appearance. These aren't just stories. They show how this desire thing works in practice.
Okay, let's start with Edwin C. Barnes. His ambition was huge, partnering with Thomas Edison.
And that's the key word, isn't it? Partnering, not just getting a job for him.
Totally different mindset.
It really is. Shows incredible self-belief right from the start.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just a wish. It was like an active force directing him.
Yeah, and think about the roadblocks. He didn't know Edison. He didn't even have the train fare to get there.
I mean, most people would just stop right there, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
End of story.
But his desire was so intense, he actually hopped a freight train. Blind baggage, they called it.
Right. That tells you something, doesn't it? How badly he wanted it. He just found a way, no matter how unconventional.
And Edison's first impression wasn't exactly glowing.
No. He thought Barnes looked like an ordinary tramp.
But Edison, he saw something else underneath that. He recognized the determination.
Exactly. He had that famous quote, didn't he? About when a man desires something so deeply,
That he is willing to stake his entire future on a single turn of the wheel.
he is sure to win.
Yeah.
Powerful stuff. Edison knew what real drive looked like.
And it wasn't about what Barnes said initially, apparently, but what he thought, his conviction.
Edison sensed it. That mental toughness. It was almost like his desire was radiating off him.
Even though, on the surface, nothing suggested success was coming.
So Barnes gets his foot in the door. A low-paying job in Edison's office.
Not the partnership he dreamed of, not yet. But he saw it as his chance, right?
Precisely.
Yeah.
A strategic move. Get close, show what he could do, and crucially, that desire didn't fade.
If anything, it got stronger while he waited. He was determined to be ready.
Yeah, he wasn't just hoping. He was actively preparing for that moment.
There's that quote, I came here to go into business with Edison and I'll accomplish this end.
If it takes the remainder of my life, wow, that's commitment.
Makes you think, how often do we give up way before that point?
So true. And then the opportunity finally comes, but it's maybe not what he expected.
Right, it's this Edison dictating machine, the Ediphone.
Which Edison's own sales team wasn't exactly thrilled about.
They couldn't sell it effectively. They saw it as a dud, basically.
But Barnes looked at it differently. He saw the potential that others missed.
And this is where his persistence pays off, big time. He believed he could sell it.
And he did. So successfully, in fact, that Edison gave him the distribution contract for the whole country.
Which led to that famous slogan, made by Edison and installed by Barnes?
And a hugely successful business partnership that lasted, what, decades?
Yeah, a long time. He literally thought his way into riches.
Exactly. He proved the principle. That intangible thought, that desire, it became a very tangible reality.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars.
Amazing. He started with nothing, really. No money, not much education, no connections.
Just the idea, the initiative, the faith, the sheer will to win. That was his capital.
It's a powerful lesson in itself. But let's pivot slightly. Let's look at Are You, Darby and the gold mine.
Okay, this one's kind of the flip side, isn't it? A cautionary tale, almost.
Yeah, because Darby's uncle, they had the gold. They struck it rich initially. Tangible proof.
But then the vein, it seemed to disappear. And what did they do?
They quit. They just stopped digging. Sold all the machinery to a junk man.
Can you believe it? After finding gold, the gold fever wore off fast when they hit a snag.
And the junk man, this is the interesting part, he didn't just scrap it.
No, he was smart. He thought, maybe I should get an expert opinion. So he hired a mining engineer.
And the engineer checks out and finds
The gold was still there. Just 3 feet away from where Darby and his uncle had stopped digging.
3 feet. Unbelievable.
Apparently it was a fault line. The vein had just shifted slightly. The junk man made millions from their mine.
Oh, the regret Darby must have felt, stopping 3 feet from gold.
But, he learned from it. A very expensive lesson, but he learned it.
Yeah, later in life, he became a really successful insurance salesman.
And he directly credited that failure, that 3 feet from gold moment, for his later success.
He developed what he called stickability.
He said, I stopped 3 feet from gold, but I will never stop because people say no when I ask them to buy insurance.
That's turning a negative into a massive positive, isn't it? Using that pain as fuel.
Absolutely. He understood that rejection.
Yeah.
That no wasn't the end. It was just part of the process. Maybe even a sign you were close.
The source makes that point, too, that big success often comes right after you feel like giving up.
Right. Failure is that trickster, as they call it. Tries to fool you into quitting just before the breakthrough.
It's like a final test of that desire we talked about.
Definitely. Separates the wishers from the truly committed.
Now, Darby had another experience, didn't he? A really striking one involving 50 cents.
Oh yeah, the story about the little girl. It's quite vivid. He saw it happen at his uncle's mill.
This young sharecropper's daughter comes in wanting 50 cents.
And the uncle is, well, pretty rough with her. Tells her to get lost, basically.
Even threatens her, but she just stands there, doesn't budge.
Incredible persistence from a child. And then comes that moment.
She just looks him square in the eye and yells.
My mama's got to have that 50 cents.
Yeah.
Just pure, raw determination.
And the uncle, he's just stunned, completely taken aback by her forcefulness.
And he gives her the money. Darby watched this whole thing unfold.
He was amazed. He saw this, powerless child just dominate the situation through sheer willpower.
He called it a strange power. He couldn't quite understand it at the time.
But later, he realized it was connected to these very ideas we're discussing, that absolute unwavering desire.
She knew she had to get that 50 cents. There was no alternative in her mind, no possibility of failure.
And Darby said that image, that little girl, stuck with him throughout his sales career.
Yeah, every time a prospect said no, he saw her face.
He'd think, I've got to make the sale. He credited so many of his sales, the ones made after the initial no, to that memory.
He reinforced the lesson from the gold mine, didn't it? Keep going. Don't stop at the first sign of resistance.
That keeping on idea. It's amazing how these different experiences all point to the same core principles.
They really do. And it all comes back to that starting point. Desire.
Right. The source puts it so clearly. A burning desire to be and to do is the starting point.
Dreams are not born of indifference, laziness, or lack of ambition. You need that fire inside.
That definite purpose like Barnes had. You need to know what you want intensely.
And the idea is that this focus, this intensity, it almost magnetizes your mind. You become money conscious or goal conscious, whatever your aim is.
You start seeing possibilities, formulating plans almost automatically.
And we saw that same kind of relentless drive with Henry Ford, briefly mentioned in the source.
Ah, yes, the V8 engine story. His engineers told him it was impossible, right? Casting it in one piece.
Flat out impossible, they said. But Ford just wouldn't accept it.
He just told them basically do it anyway.
His instruction was something like, go ahead and stay on the job until you succeed, no matter how much time is required.
No room for doubt, just pure, unwavering belief and determination. And eventually,
They figured it out. His persistence forced the innovation.
it's that refusal to accept limitations, driven by that core desire.
And this leads to a really profound idea in the source material about controlling our thoughts.
That we have the power to direct our thinking, and that our dominant thoughts tend to, manifest in our lives.
The universe adapting to our thoughts, influencing us to act on them.
There's that famous quote, I am the master of my fate, I am the captain of my soul.
And the source connects that mastery directly to controlling your thoughts. That's where the power lies.
But it's important to remember, this power works both ways.
Absolutely. It doesn't care if your thoughts are positive or negative, constructive or destructive. Focus on lack, you might get lack.
Focus on fear. You attract things to fear. But focus on your burning desire with faith.
And you start aligning yourself with the opportunities and circumstances needed to achieve it.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what are the big takeaways for you listening?
Well, number one has to be the starting point.
Mm.
You need a definite burning desire, not just a vague wish.
Yeah, know what you want, really want it. Second, watch out for that 3 feet from gold moment. Don't quit too soon.
Right. Temporary defeat is not permanent failure unless you let it be. Persistence is crucial.
Like Barnes, waiting for his chance, like that little girl demanding her 50 cents. Keep going.
So the real question for you is, what's your burning desire? Is there something you maybe gave up on?
Something you let fade when you hit an obstacle, like Darby almost did.
Maybe thinking about Barnes or Ford or that determined child might inspire you to look at it again.
To reignite that fire with maybe a new level of determination this time.
It's definitely something to think about. That power of desire, it's waiting to be harnessed.
Absolutely. That's our deep dive for today. Really mull over these ideas, see how they might apply to your own ambitions, what desire is worth fighting for.